All right, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. As you can see, I sound like a damn train wreck. I know I look like a train wreck, but I feel like three train wrecks. It happens every year when you come back to school around all these kids. They're always bringing something with them, and the weather, hot one minute, cold the next. It just doesn't know what it wants to do. And the problem with that is, in the schoolhouse, they have these heating and air systems that's supposed to be adjusting to whatever temperature you have. But if you had to come out and turn the heat on, you call them 2 days later to turn the air on, and back and forth. You can't keep up with all of that, man. And because of that, like the other day when it was 30 degrees outside, the unit was kicking out cold air. And when it's hot, sometimes it be kicking out hot air. So there's no middle ground, no matter which way you go. So I kind of feel like some of these coaches out there trying to find jobs when they're trying to figure out what's the best place that they can go to be stable. Well, it ain't stable where I am because the temperature just fluctuates. And while I got on enough clothes to keep me warm, there's still a cool air that's like blowing under me. It's got me in a bad situation. So I'll try not to insult you too much. I try not to stay on too long, but for the sake of consistency, I had to get out there and play. It's like when you tweak an ankle, it's the fourth quarter of a championship game. You better take that thing up and get out there and play. So that's what I'm trying to do. Make sure that I'm consistent to get out there and do what I need to do. Now, I don't really have a whole lot going on right now. Uh, there's a weather system that's going to be moving across the East Coast that's supposed to dump a whole lot of snow. And fortunately for us football fans, New England is not going to be hosting that AFC Championship game. They're going to be going to Denver. That's going to be cold, mind you, but they won't have to deal with all that snow that's going to be going up that eastern seaboard. And likewise with the NFC Championship game when the Rams go up to Seattle. Now, those games shape up to be a very great contest. Um, the Rams and the Seahawks split. The Broncos and the Patriots both have good defenses, but there's an issue at quarterback for the Broncos. Jarrett Stidham is going to come in to replace Bo Nix, who broke an ankle, a bone in his ankle the other day. I don't know if they went to overtime or not. I can't remember. But in the end of the game, they lost, and he got hurt, and that means he's not going to be able to play. Now, if it was overtime, he might have him tape it up, get out there and play. He can't escape the pressure, the pocket. So it'd be useless to him if he tried to play. So question is, Stidham hasn't thrown a pass in the game in years. How's he going to get around trying to compete um, when he hadn't played in a long time? And that can have a great effect on who wins this particular game. And I'd be interested to see how this takes place. I'm going to try something. Let me turn this camera on to see uh, what happens. I'm only doing that because I look like a train wreck. And I don't know. Let me turn it back on because I don't like it. But anyway, uh, looking for this weekend. And while we're waiting on these games to unfold, there's a lot of action taking place in the coaching carousel. You know that Sean McDermott was fired the other day by the Bills, but it's coming out now that he had said something to the owners and the GM that he didn't have a roster, a Super Bowl roster, and that didn't go too well in that meeting. And ever since then, there's been contention around Buffalo's facilities. Well, the owner came out after the game and said he pretty much fired the coach based on that one game. Now, it don't make a whole lot of damn sense because it's not like Buffalo got blown out and embarrassed. They lost the game in overtime with some considered as controversial fashion. So how is it that all of a sudden you're going to fire this man over something like that? But in reality, it goes back to what McDermott told him about that roster. So it sets up the stage where the GM, who was able to keep his job, by the way, and not only keep his job, he got a promotion. So if he's part of bringing the players in, and McDermott just told you you didn't have a championship roster, you still keep this guy GM around? leads me to believe that maybe the GM might have tried to stick McDermott in the back. That sure appears to be what took place. Because while McDermott's in the game, in the locker room and the film room, trying to put together game plans and practice and meetings, this guy, the general manager, has the ear of the owner. So you know, he probably rigged up a situation that maybe if I can get rid of McDermott, I get myself a better position and go find another coach. But the question is, how long is that going to last? It's just a fishy situation that's taking place in Buffalo. But I'm like this: if I'm McDermott, you don't want me, hell, I'm gone. I'm not going to stick around and be in a place I don't want that nobody wants me to be around in. It'll make a whole lot of sense. So, being that there's jobs open, I'm hearing talk that he's going to interview with Baltimore. Um, any place he lands could be a good job, a good fit for him. And anytime you have a contentious situation, change is always good. Harbaugh leaving Baltimore, now McDermott, he could end up in Baltimore. And a couple other spots out there. Cleveland still needs a coach. I just found out that Mike McDaniel canceled his interview to go be to interview for the Browns head job. He didn't want it. It looks like he's going to be the OC at the Chargers. So if that's the case, um, I don't know what the Browns are going to do about a new head coach. And you would think that anybody that has the opportunity to be a head coach in the NFL with the money that they make, you're all facing the same responsibilities, no matter what position you're in. It's not like the pressure is going to be any greater. So why not take that position? I would, but they didn't do that. JC, how you doing, man? You see, I sound like a train wreck today. I just come on to be consistent. I don't really have any breaking topics to talk about, so I just want to talk a little bit about football to remain consistent. And you know that the Dolphins got halfly out of Green Bay, and looks like Salah is going to take the Titans job. And one by one, probably by the end of the week, all these jobs should be taken. Everybody's watching to see what Baltimore does, what Pittsburgh does, and now you got Buffalo out there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 4 or 5 days. Remember, you got that Rooney Rule. You got to interview certain people, and that might make a difference. But you know what? That Rooney Rule, now that the DEI is pretty much being kicked out of the U.S., are they going to keep that Rooney Rule? I'm starting to think that that might not be in play. But even that, if you already know who you want to hire, don't call me in on the interview if you know doggone well you're not seriously considering me. Unless you come in and pay me to do that, don't waste my time. But again, you want to try to get your face in front of as many people as you can, even though you might not get that job. You can't impress somebody on that interview panel that they will remember you later on down the road that could actually lead to a head coaching job. So that's why you should go. But again, uh, Cleveland, I don't know what the situation is there. Stefanski ended up with the Falcons, and Baker Mayfield is already talking about he's ready to get a hold to him because Stefanski was the guy that pretty much ran him out of town. So of course he must beat the Falcons now even more because of that. But I think Baker Mayfield and the rest of the Bucks need to figure out what they couldn't get right the second half of the season, because the Bucks pretty much laid an egg down the stretch. So if they don't fix that, he worried about Stefanski. He's gonna be out of Tampa Bay too. So we're gonna be mad with them. But it's just the way it goes, man. But just to recap, the other day, I told you guys yesterday how things go full circle in sports. Mendoza, or Indiana, went to Miami Columbus High as a sophomore, 18, 19, 20, and 21. As a sophomore, he was on the Columbus team as a backup quarterback, and they won the state championship that year. That is the first championship in Columbus history. Since then, they've won it 2 more times. Now, they've been to the state championship a couple of times before that. The first time I ever heard of Miami Columbus was back in 1980. They had one of those little radio with the little 3-inch screen on it, black and white. And I just happened to be flipping around trying to find something going on in the world. And I came upon the state championship game in 1980 with a school out of Pensacola called Gonzales Tate. They were playing Miami Columbus for the state championship on a Saturday afternoon. in the Pensacola area. And Tate won that game. And then Gonzalez, Columbus pretty much just disappeared. Now, we know that Mendoza went around the world and came on back to lead Indiana against um, Miami in the championship game. And we know that he came through Columbus, but other than being on a team of 19, he did not lead a team to a state championship. He was a backup to his guy Brandon McDuffie that year that they won it. But what's interesting about the college football championship and how things come full circle is that while Mario Cristobal, Fernando Mendoza Sr. and Jr., all three went to Columbus High. The fourth connection to that is Carson Beck. As a senior, Carson Beck led Jacksonville Mandarin to the state championship in 2018. And lo and behold, they beat Miami Columbus for the state championship. So, in short, it's a revenge for Columbus. It's a revenge for Mendoza. They didn't beat Carson Beck in the state championship, but the college national championship, strike one up for Columbus. That's all boys school, for I understand. All right, Mr. Carter, where you been, man? I didn't jinx your Bears, man. I thought sure that you were going to come on the day after, and whether I won or lost, I told the people that Mr. Carter said I had to show up. I showed up waiting on you. You didn't show up. I was disappointed, man. Now I'll give you a break because that was a holiday and I wasn't on at a certain time like I always am. But I had to show up to show my face whether I won or lost because Carter said, I want to see you after this game. But Jinx, I don't believe in that. I think the Bears, they're living on the edge and they died on the edge. That's just the way it goes, man. And you got to be happy with the progress that they made. But as the problem that the Bears had over the last 20 or something years, they have a good team, and next year they won't do nothing. So the question is, what are the Bears going to do next year? See what Detroit did. They raised hell last year. This year they didn't make the playoffs. Would that be the Bears' fate? You're going to have a tougher schedule on paper, playing against teams that finish higher than what you dealt with this year from the previous year. So the Bears got their work cut out for them. But I never thought they were championship caliber because you cannot gamble on the fact that you got to keep coming back all the time. And eventually it's going to catch up to you. Most of the time that ends with teams getting blown out because they just can't get nothing together and they're depending on a comeback and it never happens. But I felt like the Rams, just like the 49ers have gone into Green Bay in January. I've seen the Giants go into Green Bay in January. That cold weather does not guarantee you anything because you got to play in it too. You got to deal with the elements. And that's just what happened to you. All right, let's see what we got here. All right. I've been sick since Sunday. Well, I started out today talking about that. I'm dealing with these kids and they're always bringing me something. And then we got fluctuating weather. Now, the one thing about Chicago and places like that, you know it's going to be cold when it stays cold. But here, hell, it was 32 degrees the other day. And then yesterday, it got up to 60. Who knows what it's going to be today? But you got the air conditioning systems in here. They can't keep up. So while it's 30 outside, there's no heat. And then when they finally get the heat working, the temperature has changed. And now it's hot in class. So the damn air conditioning can't keep up. And guys like me who can't deal with that change like that stay sick. So I understand exactly what you're saying. But I don't know if you're sick from the game or you just sick from the elements. So I don't know what it's going to be for you. But I'm glad you came back and hollered at us because I was worried about you. All right. Who you calling to take it? Your next 4 teams left? Well, my call was Buffalo and the Rams. I think Buffalo got jobbed, so they out of it. So I think that with the quarterback situation in Denver, a lot of people are counting them out. So I'm going to go with the underdog. So I'm going to go with Denver and LA for the Super Bowl. And I expect LA to knock off Denver because even if they survive New England with this backup quarterback, the Rams will be able to overcome that. Now, the only thing about the Rams, their biggest problem is the Rams. By that, I mean the head coach, Sean McVay. He's kind of like Sean Payton in a lot of ways. his offense is just so beautiful and so perfect that he just got to show the world, and he's going to keep calling the same kind of plays over and over and over and over again. But when they start dropping passes and the clock is stopping, you're extending the game and you're giving the other team a chance. Um, if he just get out of his damn way, the Rams would be a whole lot better. An example of what I'm talking about, they like to run play action on second down. 99% of the time, it's going to be a play action pass. They run for 2 or 3 yards on first down, and if they get 6 or 7 on first down, it's going to be a play action pass. Matthew Stafford, you're going to come in, you're going to stick that little chicken wing out for half a second, and you're going to dial up a pass down the middle of the seam somewhere. I picked this kind of stuff up just watching the games. So watch what the Rams do on second down and how many times they run that play action pass. It's like it's telegraphic to me, and I think because of that, the Rams put themselves in jeopardy to get knocked off. Because, like I said, if I can pick up on that, these defensive coordinators making millions of dollars a year should be able to pick up on that also. So the Rams have to overcome themselves. If they can do that, they'll go to the Super Bowl. All right, it's going to be -15 tomorrow, and that's negative. Well, I know one thing. It's a negative for me to be anywhere around that. So I'm going to stay down here and deal with this fluctuating weather. Even though I'd probably be better off at -15 if it stayed that way. Because I'm not going out the door anyway. But they tell me when it gets cold like that, they don't close the schools up there. Well, hell, if they get 25, they'd be talking about closing the schools down here. So you can see the difference in mindset. But I hope you stay warm, man. I hope your pipes don't freeze on you. Make sure you leave a little drip there so the water flows. So you guys will be all right, man. But anyway, I got to get up out of here, man. Like I say, I don't sound good. I don't look good. Got a little bit of work to do. And I'm going to try to gather myself before these kids come in and bring me something else. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I like what I'm doing. And hang on for a couple more years. And then we'll do something else. But anyway, I'm with you on the Rams beating Seattle, but I feel New England defense will get to the substitute quarterback. Yeah, they're going to get to him. But the question is, will he make the big mistake to get them out of the game? If you notice in the playoffs, all the teams that turn the ball over are the ones that lose. The Texans, they had no business even getting past the Steelers. But the Steelers' offense was so bad that day, and it didn't matter how many times the Texans turned it over. But you see, they couldn't overcome that last week. Eventually, Stroud, the way he's playing, he's getting worse every year. And, when he had that great rookie year, going on all those talk shows, podcasts talking about pretty much how great he was, now he ain't doing a damn thing. So he better tighten up, or he's going to get on the waiver wire by the end of next year. So it's that time for him to go up for another contract. So the question is, will the Texans pick that option up or go ahead and sign it? I think they're going to pick the option up and make him go out and earn it next year. Because if he plays the way he played, and that guy Mills come in behind him and play pretty decent, they're going to get rid of Stroud and elevate Mills. Why not? He's more trustworthy. And that's what it's all about. Can you trust the guys you put out there on the field? And right now, you can't trust Stroud. Regardless of what D'Amico Ryan's saying about not wanting to pull him, he's telling a damn lie. If Stroud's going to blow it for him, he had a chance to go to the Super Bowl, Stroud going to be on the bench right next to him. So take that for what you want. All right. Anyway, I got to get up out of here, man. You heard to be all right. Glad to see old JC. And I hadn't seen Selmo today. Mr. Carter stepped in to holler at us. Hopefully tomorrow. All right, Mr. Nate said, so glad they lost. What are you talking about? Texans? I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Nate. But we can go more in depth with this tomorrow. Hopefully we get some more NFL vacancies cleared up by tomorrow. And we got a lot that we can talk about as we get closer to the weekend. Tomorrow's Friday. Damn, this has been a fast week. And looking forward to it. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow. If you're brand new, like and subscribe. And about 6:30 or 6:40 tomorrow, I'll come back on. Hopefully I'll be feeling a little bit better. And we'll go from there. So have a great day, guys, wherever you are. And keep your eyes open for what the Steelers might do with this new head coach signing. I give them 2 weeks. Baltimore and Cleveland, they'll probably go before Pittsburgh does. But it'd be interesting to see what happens. They were talking to Mike McCarthy, but I don't know if that's a good fit. So we'll see how that plays out.